Yeah.
Right to freedom, right to life, right to own property. Yeah, that's what I know.
Yes. The Supreme Court. Okay, so Shaj, don't see what you. Yeah. Yes, my right has been violated. In school, I heard that corporal punishment is now abolished, but my teacher still used to cane us. The highest law in Ghana is the Constitution.
This is difficult.
The law on life. I think the law on life.
So which is which? The Constitution or the right to life? Why don't you join me, Anita Delight Dankwa, every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss all legal issues from a Christian perspective on Hope Channel, your preferred Christian channel.
Still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. In the studio, I've been having an interesting conversation with Evans. Joining me virtually, I have Pastor Kenneth and Emmanuel. And we've been looking at this woman's story. She says she and her husband got married, and he left the country, which is Ghana, just a month after, went outside. Apparently, he went to look for a job. Things are not going as planned. And he's come up with this idea of getting married to someone there, a citizen there, so he could work based on their marriage and then her citizenship. She doesn't agree with this idea. She made him aware that she's uncomfortable with the idea and was suggesting that he comes back home so he starts something here. But he says no, his opportunities there are more than here, and so that's what he wants to do. She wants to find out if she should agree to these terms. She also wants to find out if it will be helpful to her and whether this is something she should go into. But obviously, she's not clear on the decision yet, and so you're trying to make sure that we help her to make a good decision for herself and then her family. She's also mentioned that she doesn't have a child, and he's been gone for 3 years, so you can imagine it's taking a toll on her. And so coming back to the man moving, Evans, I'll come to you and then I'll ask long-distance relationship.
Yeah.
Is this something you would advise? What are your opinions on that? Do you have reservations? Do you think it can work? Do you think that it's bound to, end up something that shouldn't be?
Well, before I actually maybe answer that or maybe say my opinions on that, I just, I'm so glad that Pastor Kenneth is on the line and, we discussing this. And I had the little, let's take it back to, Sarah, Hagar, and Abraham, and, Ishmael. Look at the story and how, Hagar came in and Sarah was there, and, they were looking for a child, and, so think about it. This thing is, kind of, way back.
Right. It's not recent. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's certain circumstances that actually, get us into this, so we should also consider that part, I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate here.
What you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, but at the same time, we just have to, look at the, both sides and see, and I love, what Mr. Otu actually said, Okoto said about how we should patiently, wait for the time. I really like that. Now let me come back to long distance relationship and marriage. Me personally, I don't think I can do that. Think about it. This is my opinion anyway.
Right.
I'm a young guy. Just imagine I got married to maybe, or I'm in a relationship with someone maybe in Ghana, and then maybe I'm living abroad.
Yeah.
And Mr. Koto just said it again, and he said, but you know me fire.
True.
Yeah, and we, even if we take that aside, there are so many stuff that will be running through you, and there are a lot of stress, living abroad, working. Sometimes you be going to school full time, and also working, and you just need that person close to you, not on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. So me personally, I don't really advise, that also doesn't give you the license or the chance that, oh, okay, well, my wife is in Ghana, so I should do whatever I need to do to satisfy myself. That will be selfish, and you should consider the fact that the stuff that you did together, so all those should come into into connection and see, so you have to think about all those stuff, just not about you yourself, so I will, my personal opinion, I don't really like that, and I don't encourage people getting in it. Get someone who is closer to you. Right.
Just it makes it easier.
It makes it so easy.
I agree. Pastor Ken, going off of what we heard from Evans, obviously long distance relationship is not easy. So in this particular situation where the woman knew that the man would travel after marriage, should she have agreed? Should she have said, oh no, this is not something I want to go into because of the up and downs in it and the stress levels when somebody is far away? Because honestly, even with the people that are close to you, it's difficult. How much more somebody who is miles and miles and miles away from you? What is your opinion on that?
Thank you. So I would see it from, again, this perspective. When you look at the marriage based on the story, they loved each other. They wanted to get together, but then the opportunity came in, and so the guy had to travel.
Right.
I believe that though it was a rushed decision, I don't think family members rushed them. Maybe they just wanted to seal the deal. And I think that was the best thing that he probably did, because, I mean, they could have waited and do it later. But I think getting married to the guy kind of secured their relationship in essence, so that the guy would not be fooling around, at least when he comes to abroad. Right. For a distance relationship, I think it can work. I don't advocate for it. And the reason why I say it can work is because I believe that Christians, for a relationship with God, is like a long distance relationship. This is a bit controversial, but I'll explain briefly here. God is in heaven. We are on earth. We talk to him through prayers, but we believe that he is always with us. More so of also believing that the Holy Spirit, which is God, is with us. And so we are living with God. If you know that, if you know this story, we know that our relationship with God is like marriage. We as Christians, or the church, is the bride and Jesus is the bridegroom, and one day we'll meet him in person. I know it's a bit spiritual, but when we come to the literal aspect of life, which is more of marriage relationships, I think long distance has high possibility of working if both of them believe and trust each other, and also believe that they can work it out. It has to be an agreement from both sides. If both of them don't agree and trust each other, that's where it's bound to fail. Right. There have been some people who traveled for 10 years. They were faithful. They came back together. They understood the circumstance. God opened the doors, and then they join hands together again as a couple. I would not advocate for that. I would not preach it on the pulpit. But if it does happen, we should not condemn it, because it has high possibilities of happening if they do agree.
Right. I completely get where you're coming from, and I totally understand. Before I move on to Emmanuel, I would like to find out, in your opinion, what are the possible reasons why this young man or this husband thinks that this is the only way out for him to make something out of his life? Why is he so intent on going outside of his marriage, getting married to someone else, just so he can stay abroad? What could be the possible reasons? I mean, he said that his chances there are better. But then aside that, as a man as well, and living abroad, what could be some of the possible reasons why he thinks this is his only way to success in his marriage or even in life?
I think the guy got another agenda on the plate. But, you know, I have worked a little bit with immigration stuff, and I read immigration history. And I know that marriage is one of the top ones to sponsor people. When you marry somebody, there is a higher possibility, at least 95%, that they will give that person their document.
Right.
So that is high. Education is 50-50. Job is 50-50. And so maybe he is just thinking wise. But, you know, the big issue that maybe might have not been discussed is the fact that maybe the guy don't want to be in a relationship with her again. You know, note this, that they don't have a kid.
Yeah,
and when you don't have a kid too, so I think we have to be more careful and dive more deeper into the story. Hopefully the girl has given us all the information. If not, I think this is not the only way. He could, if he believes in God, I think that God has other ways to secure our documents in this country for us. He can seek for asylum. I'm afraid no could or a bit or he could probably just find jobs, like do job applications, which could also, some companies help sponsor people so that they can have their permanent resident or green card or whatever it is. So there are other ways, but I hope that this is not the only way he's looking up into. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, there are other ways. He could just come home. That's also an option. I mean, you don't need to
make food together.
Right. Yeah. Farming is very lucrative in Ghana, trust me. Emmanuel, coming to you, obviously, I'll take your opinion on long-distance relationship. And with this story, as a case study, they were going to get married. She knew before, they had already started the relationship. So it wasn't as if it happened when he was there and she was here. They were together and the opportunity came. So it sort of makes sense that they went ahead with their relationship. But what's your take on long-distance relationship in general? And then obviously why this man is bent on staying abroad and getting married to a completely different woman and living off of her certificate of citizenship. This woman can change her mind at any time. Anything can go wrong. As a man, I'm glad I have 3 men. What's your opinion on that?
Long distance relationship. I think it will work when you're already married and you have your kids and things are moving well. But I wouldn't recommend that for newly wedded couples.
Right.
It's one thing I wouldn't recommend, because I think there are reasons that I have, personal reasons on that. One, you know, it's created grounds for cheating, seriously. Yes, you don't have kids, and no, when you marry, that age is there at the start, and you get married and he just leaves and you're also around. So you are breeding grounds for adultery, which I think we all wouldn't like. Also, let's look at the age factor. When he's not coming, in this case, they are not married. So the lady, the age factor too might go against her. And she will end up losing double. When she's not married and she's not having kids as well, you get it? It becomes another issue. So you will not be able to have kids. Already, they spent 3 years already without kids, and he's now going to enter into a contract marriage, which wouldn't, and considering the story too, I'll say the distance relationship wouldn't help, because the man is getting married to someone. Let's face fact, how many men will live under the same roof with a lady, especially look at how the weather is cold, and for some years wouldn't go into anything like that. We should face fact. It will happen.
Yeah.
It's 1 of 1,000. Yeah, man, let's face fact. It might happen. And with relationship or marriage, we need a physical touch as well. when children comes in, the children needs mom and dad, their care. But with the long distance relationship, our phone calls, and it's virtually like friendship. It doesn't help. And in this case, I don't think if the marriage is going to end up on a good note. It will obviously break up. But the freedom is there. There is no child, and he's struggling with the motive that he wants to make it. So if he's not in and he says, I've still not made it, what can you do? The time as well is going. And to the ladies too. Now there are men looking out for ladies whose husbands are outside. They know the situation. And they are taking advantage of that.
Wow.
Seriously, they are taking advantage of it. And the ladies are complaining. And as I said, Adventists, if not for fornication or adultery, you can't leave the man. I don't know, Pastor, is there any rule or a breakup when your wife or your partner is out? I think it only works out for the pastors, whereby maybe, but if I'm not a pastor and my wife or my partner is outside for 10, 20 years, can I break up with him? Then maybe when you answer that, they will know what to do. But I think it's a no-no for a newly wedded couple.
Right.
What was the other question?
I was asking about possible reasons why this man is bent on living outside.
Yes, I split the. I did some anatomy of the whole scenario. Rushing into marriage, they rushed into it, and the lady said they were obviously going to get married. They've been moving. The whole world sees them moving. Oh, Abdullah, boyfriend is this. They have to marry. So it puts some pressure on. If you don't marry this girl, what people will do to you? He might have been. It might have gone into marrying the lady because of the pressures around. And now he's out there. I don't like this lady. Let me take advantage of this. I won't do it directly, but I'll do what? I'll leave her. And, I feel he's already into it already. And fearing, thinking that someone might lose and tell the wife, since he's asking, or is suggesting, but I don't think so. He might already be into it. And who knows? Maybe the lady she's going to get married with the contract marriage. Perhaps they were even friends already. And that is her dream, how do you call it, wife. So...
Oops. Unfortunately,
I think it's having a hidden agenda in which the lady shouldn't trust.
Right.
Only a few men will go and come back and marry you. So,
okay, I think we are losing Emmanuel there. Even sure.
Yeah. So I actually. Oh, I think he's back. Can I?
The guy has a hidden agenda that the lady. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now I can.
Yes. So as I was saying, maybe the guy might have a hidden agenda. He might no more be interested in the lady. And the lady out there might be someone she knows already. And how can you, should I say, promote sin? There's it. You are lying that you are married, but you're not married. And you be here and your husband is married to somebody, and which is against our religion as Adventists. Two marriages doesn't work for us.
Right.
And so the lady shouldn't take it as a joke. That can be her doom. So she should be very careful on that. Yes.
Right. Thank you. Evans, you wanted to say something?
I actually wanted to, say that we, let's flip the coin and look at the other side. I totally, agree with the fact that, you cannot, say you're not married. You married while you say you're not. Yeah, I totally agree with that, But according to the story, the guy actually stated strictly it's for business.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. Who knows? Maybe all this while he's actually even looking forward to get the, the documents so he can even come back home and get, the woman of his dream.
Yeah.
So, we should weigh the options and also, flip the coin on the other side and, think about the other possibilities, The fact that this guy is even maybe struggling, you don't know what he's going through. And think about it, like you you've gone through education, maybe here in Ghana, you went through Legon, you went through maybe even have your masters or something like that, and you went back and maybe you're working in McDonald's, maybe getting paid $8. You think you can do more. So how do you get your document, as quick as possible, and maybe probably come home? So maybe that may be the mind of this guy. I don't know. I literally don't know. But on the other side, that could be a possibility. So we should also consider that part. So I personally think we need to dig a little deeper into this. I do not encourage, relying, that, oh, I'm now married while I'm married, and also it could be that, even it was a traditional marriage. And when we look at the immigration, side, like if that will even affect the guy or something like that, if you do have, on papers, then it would, but if you don't have it on papers, maybe you can get your way through, there are so many stuff that is hidden
in the story,
which we don't really know.
I agree.
To just draw a conclusion, but hey, biblically, Pastor is here, so I will side with him in terms of, of course, I mean, we should be mindful on certain stuff that we do in terms of lying, and doing other stuff that it would not, put it in the right direction, because we are waiting for Christ now.
Right. And then going on that, going off of that, and then looking at it from the woman's angle, where she's saying that he should come home. Do you think that she can convince him to come home? Do you think that she should convince him to come home? Do you think that would be best for them? Looking at the fact that it's been 3 years and they don't have children, and the marriage of contract, I believe, will take a while also before he can probably start working and making some meaningful earnings enough to say, I'm bringing you or coming back home and all that. Do you think it will be in their best interest for him to come home and be with his wife, start something, start a family? Because like you said, they're not growing any younger.
Yeah. That should be a conversation that they should be having. It could be both ways. The guy maybe would, want to stay abroad and, work abroad, and maybe probably think about the fact that he wants to come back and maybe bring the wife. Right. That will be maybe one option. Wife convincing the husband, and the husband also having his own motive in terms of, what he wants to accomplish. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we have to be married, and we have to come into that, consensus agreement to make sure that, things work, between us. So, should he, is she going to be able to convince him to come back? That will be a tough one. Seriously, that is actually going to be a tough one. But maybe it could work. But maybe, who knows? The guy don't also want to come back. So that's also another thing that we should be also be considering. So it's a tough situation here. It's a really tough situation.
So in this situation where it could work, or maybe the guy doesn't want to come back, how do you think this can be solved?
Well, if they truly love each other, as I said, there should be that, agreement. That there should be that, that thing that connected them initially before all this.
Right.
What was were the stuff that you guys were doing before this situation? Can we circle back and say, oh, it's because of this? You know how we vibed?
Right.
You know how we, get together and, walk on the side of the road? You know how we eat together? So they should bring those, those memories back and, probably come together and see, the way out. I personally think it could work, when they come together. But I also would not object the fact that, my other colleagues actually spoke about, the long distance relationship. If they truly also love each other, and the lady understand the fact that it's just strictly business, and he's getting it to probably maybe come quickly and bring her back to the state or to where he is. That's also a commitment. This marriage is commitment and love. So then are you also agreeing on my side?
True.
You see, so we have to consider stuff. It could be the other way, it could be this way. I hope I'm kind of,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, both sides, you can find a reason to make it work. I get what you mean completely.
Yeah.
And Pastor Ken, I'll come to you again and I'll ask him, how best can this situation or this issue be solved?
Well, we need 2 more weeks to discuss this topic because it's really interesting. Just briefly, I'm just going to create a timeline for if this was to actually go on. When you get married to somebody and you want to use this as immigration process, at least the marriage and the process takes about, let's say 2 months. And then after 2 months, you put in the application. If the person has a good income, because they're going to look at the income and everything. And then when they look at the income and everything, they will check the possibility if they can sponsor you. That usually takes about 8 months, and let's say almost to a year. Sometimes if you get a good processing time, it goes quicker. When they get married, you cannot just wake up and divorce that person. It's going to take some time. Each country or each province or each state has their own policy where, like, you can get married and then divorce tomorrow, but because the immigration people know about this, they know that Africans, we've been doing this. I hope say we won't translate there's a lot of people we're telling the truth. Because obia ni misa broche ye obia ni misa high comment obia pese of fa ekwan hu do bebre so said be ya betimi aba no mu nyina kabom no matena. And to me, my best advice that I would give to them is there's a possibility it will work, but as a pastor, I would not condone this. I mean, I will not say you should do this. All that I would tell the woman and the man is to sit down and have a conversation. I'm just so glad that the man was bold to tell the wife about this. Most men or women would never even bring it to your attention. It's tough, but I'm just saying there's a good potential here that the conversation has started between them. Right. And now there's other possibility. I would suggest to the men, find better ways. Like maybe you can apply for school for your wife to come to wherever your wife is, or you can, the same opportunity that you probably got, you can try. I actually have a friend who got school here in Canada and the wife was in Ghana, and by God's grace, he applied, and then he got his documents, and then the wife applied for school and the wife came here and then he sponsored her. So I think there are better ways. If they want us to communicate behind scenes, we could find other better ways that could help them. We are not making promise because I don't give visas, but I'm just saying there's better ways that we can look at this to bring them together. Thank you.
Thank you. Completely agree. Emmanuel, do you think what's the best way to solve this issue? Do you think it can even be solved?
First of all, I'll say that we shouldn't just look at the benefits that they are both going to get when the guy goes out and he succeeds. You see, marriage, at the end of the day, is going to take many people to hell, seriously. And if you don't, you are not careful, that's what you're going to find yourself in. If you are looking at how successful you are going to be and the only way is to travel, let's face fact. How many of such marriages work? Those approaching marriage, it doesn't work. The man will do well, they come to pick the wife. The wife gets mistreat the husband. The husband is now paying child support. They are divorced. It doesn't work. I always tell my female friends, look, think through. Either or then both of you go. Or think of something else. Let's face fact, 70%, 80%, there are issues with this Abuchi, our my friends, you are aware of that. And I don't know why the guy is still insisting, out of the numerous alternatives, like school, using someone's papers to work. There's a story, someone used someone's paper to work. And, you know, when you use the paper, you take his name. And he was working in a kitchen. And he went there. His name was Oriku, but the name he was using was Kwame. And they were calling him Kwame. He was still standing there because he was using somebody's papers. You know, there are other alternatives, but this guy still wants the marriage one. It's either he's lazy, he doesn't want the difficult aspect. Because if you cherish your wife and you know the effect or what might end up when you choose that direction, he wouldn't, how do you call it, go into that. I see a difficult man here who is imposing on the lady indirectly. It sounds like he's giving a suggestion, but seriously, he's telling you this is the only way. Listen, this is the only way that I can get the papers. It will be difficult for the lady to convince the woman. If possible, they can bring the family in. As I asked, Pastor, I asked you, I didn't get the answer. If you have a wife or a husband in that situation and he's not coming for you for so many years, you know you are married, can you break up and so on? Because if the answer you give me will determine my final conclusion. But okay. I think you should allow the family to come in. If there's going to be a timeline that maybe after he gets the papers, because when I read the story, I don't see a timeline in the contract marriage as to whether they are going to, he's going to get papers in 3 years, 4 years, and so on. It seems to me they're going to get married forever. That's what I see from the lines I read. So there should be some timeline. If he's not coming, since that marriage is valid, I think the lady can work out so that they can put that clause there for seriousness to come in, so that if the guy really loves the girl, he knows that if I mess up, I will lose the girl. But if he's having another agenda, then he can do what, use other means. But I don't see a guy that can be convinced in this situation because he's not willing to come back.
Right,
so
right. It doesn't look like it. Pastor Ken, if you have a response for what he asked quickly, our time is fast spent,
Yeah, sorry. I would just say that according to the Seventh-day Adventist Church policy, we do not divorce anybody. That is the simplest answer. However, in situations where it is very terrible for both, we bring them together if possible, and then we give them the advice. And the advice is to come home and be with your partner. But for we as ministers of the gospel, we would never divorce any marriage unless life is threatened. But even then, when we do not divorce it, we go through what we call separation for as long as possible. And each case is different. And so we deal with each case in a separate way based on what is intended for each person.
Right. Quickly, thank you so much for that. I would have to read some comments before we go. This one is from David Techi Kwame, who says, it's very difficult to understand men sometimes from women's perspective. The quest for not being referred to as a failure will make you do things out of the norm. We will do anything not illegal to make sure our family have the best. My lady, please exercise patience and he will sure come back to you. These arranged marriages are done every day on their side. Your prayer should be that he must stay faithful to you.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. Bliss says, with God, all things are possible. My dear, never lose hope. As we are supporting you with prayers, just have faith in God. He's a wonderful God and he can turn things around. Rich Monyako says, I don't understand nowadays so-called married men and women. They are using marriage as a joke, something God cherishes so much, something you are going to be judged on. You are playing games with it. God have mercy upon us. First of all, the man doesn't love you. Secondly, I think this marriage is not a marriage, but it's rather a Chinese movie. Okay, Ajwa Peterman says he will divorce you before he starts that contract because he would have to prove that he's not married. Show divorce certificate, maybe pictures of their marriage. It isn't as simple as that. Even after that marriage, he would have to stay married to that lady for at least 3 years to be able to apply for an indefinite visa, but he'll be having a 5 years visa to work and come home as frequently as he likes. So sis, ask him to give you all the details so that you can make your decision. Okay, revivalist, reformist Mordecai says, what's the idea of feeling like a failure compared to breaking marriage vows in the quest to be successful? What is this path of success that he has chosen? If it were the lady who wants to do this while he's in Ghana, what would be the man's reaction? The main challenges lie ahead. Does the man think it would be easy for him to do away with a white woman if he settles? So it's so funny how you assume she's a white woman. If that woman gets angry and decides to deal with him, will he come back without a pants? Okay, he says, if that woman gets angry and decides to deal with him, he will come back without a pants on. That is when he will know he is a failure. If this lady is my daughter, I'll get her to marry another man. Immediately, the man also goes ahead to marry. Okay, let me just pick some of the live comments. This one says, this one is from, why can't I improve? Josephine Mensajan, who says, good evening to you and all your panelists, both in the studio and via Zoom. Sin can never be changed with regards to continent. It is a sin if the man marries abroad because he's married in Ghana. If he is a Christian, then he should pray with the wife and the Lord will provide for them. Okay, thank you so much for all your messages. Unfortunately, I couldn't read all and our time is so fast spent. Quickly, I did a little research concerning this with regards to what the law says. And if the man is married legally in Ghana and he goes ahead to do what he wants to do, it is fraud. That's going by fraudulent means, which is bigamy. And bigamy is a third-degree felony, which can lead to time spent in prison or you pay a fine. Also, if he wants to go ahead and do it the right way, he would have to divorce the woman in Ghana. And if you consent to divorce, know that when he does that, he doesn't have any commitment or allegiance to you again. He doesn't even have kids with you. So that's another issue on its own, and you lose in the end. Another thing is, if you guys marry traditionally and it is not registered, he can go ahead and marry another woman.
That's right.
So it's a whole lot of issues, and I hope you are so secure in this marriage, because I hope all turns out well. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you. Evans, Pastor Kenneth, Emmanuel, thank you guys so much for coming. I wish we had a lot more time to go into it, because like you said, it's a whole lot of issues inside the story.
That's right.
But I hope we've been able to give this woman something to think on, and even the man as well, just to make sure that they come up with a decision that helps their family. They should not look at the now, but the future of their relationship. And hopefully, if they pray and then they think about it thoroughly, I'm sure God will direct them. To the entire crew of Real Talk, thank you so much. To the audience watching, thank you so much. To Sethina Ifa Arthur, thank you so much. And to our residence lawyer, Jackie, thank you so much for your help. We'll be back same time next week with yet another exciting episode. Please enjoy the rest of your night and do enjoy the content on Hope TV. Thank you once again to my guests. You guys have been amazing.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you so much.